Let's go. Yeah.
Welcome back to another video. So now that we have our template ready, let's start creating our model by creating some assumptions about the timeline and the timeline itself. So let's just use this template to move forward. I'll copy this template and rename it as assumptions. Now I can rename these headings, and here I'll rename it as project assumptions. Okay, in these assumptions I will use, for example, so the forecast start date, it will be an input. So I'll select the format as input. So forecast start date can be any date, for example, 1st January 22. Forecast horizon, again, this will be an input, and this will be in months. For example, now we are creating a forecast for 36 months or 3 years, so I'll write 36. Here in this blank space I can write input date, and here I can write insert or input months. Now forecast end date can be calculated using a formula, that is edate. Here we'll use start date and the months, that's 36. Control Shift 3, we get the 1st January 2025 as the end of the forecast. That's right. Okay, now the year-end month. Now the year ends normally are in quarters, that is, it can be March, it can be June, it can be September or December, right? So instead of typing this, let's create this a drop-down menu for this. So we'll go to data, and in data we will go into data validation, and from here we will select list, and let's type March, June, September, December. Now it can be, any month you like according to your company or your data or your model, but generally year ends are quarter dates. So let's select these: March, June, December, or any of the month you like. And here I'll say select the month. Okay, the year-end month number should be calculated based on the value in this cell. Now let's create something. Let me show you something. March, June, September, and December, right? March should have the value of 3, June will be 6, September 9, December 12. Now let's use VLOOKUP formula to get the value for March. Lookup value is March, and I'll search in this array. I will lock this array by using F4. Column index number is 1, 2, and well, of course I want the exact match, and I will close the formula. And so as you can see, I've selected March. The value I get here for the month is 3. Now if I select September, I'll get 9. But the problem with this formula is this formula is dependent on this table. Now let me show you a neat magic trick. If you select this cell and highlight the selected range for this table and press F9, that table is automatically imported or converted into an array table. As you can see here, it's denominated inside this curly bracket. Now the benefit of using this array table is if you delete the source, the results will not change because the table is now hard-coded or imported into your formula. Now if I change to September, or December, you can see it's still being updated automatically. Now the last thing is the first year end date. Now technically the first year end date in our case should be 31st December 22. Now instead of typing it or pasting it, we can create a formula for it. For example, we can use date formula to create a date. Now date formula uses 3 parameters: year, month, and day. So the year can be taken from this project start date. So we can use the formula year, and we can use the project start date. The next parameter is month. So month is 12. And the third parameter is day, and we can use 0 for this. Now the result is 30th November 2022, but the correct result should have been 31st December 2022. So I'll go here and I'll add 1. Now this is our first year and date, 31st December 2022. Now if I change my month to June, for example, now this formula is showing me an error. There's an error in this formula, and that error is that the project start date is September 22, but the year end date is June 22, which is before the project start date. Now the correct answer should have been 30th June 2023. So let's fix this formula. And we can use an if statement to fix this formula. I'll say if this date is less than the project start date, then this date should have added 12 months. That is, I want this date to go into next year, that is 30th June 2023. Otherwise, use this date. As you can see, this is the correct date. 1st September 2022 is the start date, and the first year end is 30th June 2023. Now instead of using 2 formulas, let's merge them and create a single formula. And the trick to do is very simple. The trick is wherever you see the reference of N21, you have to replace the formula of N21 into those cells. For example, I copy this formula, and wherever it is giving the reference N21, I'll replace this formula. That's it. Now this is the first year end. Now as you can see here, formula looks far too complex to understand, but it was fairly easy to create because we knew the trick to merge these formulas. So the easier way to create complex formulas, now you can see, is to create 2 or 3 or multiple formulas step by steps, and you can use F2 and copy and paste to merge those formulas into one single formula, just like here. So that was all for today's video. The next video, we will continue with our timelines using the information we just created on this sheet. Stay tuned.
Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New